And even when I started the consulting practice, I started consulting with the preschool because that was the industry that I knew better. And my global award comes from there because I've helped more than 100 preschools to establishing, complying, applying, getting funding locally from government and also globally. So you need to have reached 1 million in terms of your revenues to be able to register for VAT.
So I can register for VAT. Angabambi million.
Oh my God, umsemncane. You're still a child. So work hard. It's okay. We'll get you there. A lot of people struggling with pay as you earn is you're working for someone. They are deducting tax from your salary and they're giving you this little. But they literally not paying SARS that deduction.
Yeah.
You know who owes SARS in that case? It's you.
The company.
No. The person.
Is it?
Yes.
Why? Because I didn't follow through.
Yes. So you need to make sure that you have your pay slips and you need to make sure that your pay slip has SARS, UIF, SDL, those deductions. I don't know if you remember there was this celebrity. There's a series. The directors were almost arrested last year because they didn't register. So you can imagine if a series is it on Netflix or Showmax?
Which series is that? Welcome to the Professionals Network podcast. This is a platform where we like what we do and we do what we like. And this is the Art Link, and I'm your host, Ncube. Today I am joined by a phenomenal woman, an extraordinary lady. She's killing it in the finance world. She's an accountant. She's a motivational speaker. She runs an organization. Before I say so much with my so little knowledge, please welcome Khubane Manakana.
Thank you, Link.
How are you?
I'm great. Thanks.
Only to think it took you 3 years to come to my podcast.
Minus 1 year is 2.
I had to strike from doing your work so you could come to my podcast.
Thank you. You did some great work. Come back.
Yeah. So, tell the people what you're made of.
Okay. Khubane, my brand name.
Yes.
I know other people know me as Tebogo, is the ID name. So I am from Limpopo and an accountant, certified fraud examiner, also a qualified auditor. A jack of commerce, So and I'm a group executive.
Yeah.
And I run the business Khubane Consulting. It's been long. I think since 2006 we've been at it, and we do accounting, tax, audit, consulting, secretarial, and there's small business, mediums, medical practitioners, NGOs, everyone.
That's a lot.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you get into finance, into accounting and all that?
Just like everyone else, I started at school. I was great in accounting.
Yeah.
And I got to varsity. First year, I was doing accounting.
Yeah.
And then second year accounting, and I started to be a tutor. Now I became a lecturer because I was teaching everyone, solving problems for everyone, but then it got boring. Then I shift to auditing. That's why I'm a qualified auditor. So my degree is in auditing. And then after that, I get bored very quickly as well. And instead of getting certified as an auditor, I'm certified as a fraud examiner. So I do forensic accounting and forensic audit. And then I also am a registered accountant. I qualified in 2019. So my practice ran within those parameters.
That's just a lot. My small brain got confused there a little bit. I'm kidding. Let's start by tax. I mean, it's that tax season now. Let's start talking about tax for now. What types of taxable incomes?
Yeah, let's do the individuals.
Yeah.
You know why I like starting with individuals? Because the people that are running businesses, they forget their part as individual taxpayers. So before you become an employer,
It looks like you're pointing at me.
precisely. So let's start with the individual taxes. So and specifically for the business owners, because you might find that you're doing very well in business, but you have forgotten that as an individual you also have
taxes that you need to pay. Yes.
Yeah. So one is any salary, either you're paying yourself. We know that business owners are hustlers. They work somewhere, some of them.
Yeah.
So any salaries, bonus, tips, allowances, if you receive like vehicle allowance, dividends if you have investment, and capital gain if you have got like offshore accounts and you're gaining interest on them. If you're self-employed,
Yeah.
most importantly, you still have to declare. And then if you leave your employer and then you get that big lump sum from your pension fund, provident fund, you also need to pay taxes on that.
Yeah.
So those are for individuals. Also, if you are a dependent from someone who passed away and they have those lump sum money left for you, you can draw on that. And also, if you are happy, you are half of someone and you decide to leave them.
Yeah.
So when they break down everything into half, the money gets taxed. There is a portion of yours. So some people will come to me to say, no, but my husband provident fund was 750, and then now instead of getting half of 750, I'm getting 300. What's wrong? And then I need to now tell them
Explain
that the 750 is taxed first and then
divided second,
split after the tax. Yeah.
Those are the
So they don't tax
deductions.
the husband only; they tax the whole amount, and then when they split it, everybody would have paid an equal amount of tax on their amount.
Are those the allowable deductions, or what are they called?
No, those are still the taxable income. So
all right,
if I am divorcing someone and I'm getting portion of his monies, I get taxed on that.
Yeah.
Hence, you don't get the full amount. There's a portion that goes to tax. Allowable deductions. Let's say that you are self-employed. Most of the self-employed people, they do provisional tax. So provisional tax is like every 6 months, August and February. So what do you do, for example, let me say I sell tomatoes, I buy them, there's money that I use for stock, for transport, for hiring the delivery van, and then for my hawkers that are selling for me on the street, and whatever that I'm spending as part of business. Those are allowable deductions.
Yeah.
Because then I'm going to say, this is how much I've made from the tomatoes, and this is how much I'm going to deduct, right? And then SARS will say, okay, we'll tax you on the little that is remaining after allowable deductions. So people don't take records serious, account your financial records. So if you are using transport every month for SARS, they can say that these deductions that you are claiming against your income, give us the proof. So you need to keep those receipts.
Where do I get a receipt from eTax?
No, but you can make your little invoice to say taxi today.
Yeah.
This much.
All right. And that was still...
Accounting records are not. People think of them as like I don't know. There are people who use accounting software, but
Yes.
we know that there are small businesses and startups that don't really have those kind of things. But then you do your manual things. There's this little book that you buy, a receipt book.
Yeah.
I used to have it for my tenants.
Yeah.
You make a receipt for yourself, taxi paid, and then you just staple them, and you've got the whole 12 months there. Not far-fetched.
It is not far-fetched per se, but it's an exercise on its own. Because what I came to find out is that, like, for me, I don't even ask for a sleep whenever whatever. And, if we have money, we're good to just get the things that we want direct from the business account before I even pay myself to my personal account. If I even have a personal account, because in most cases, you would just, what do you call
Buy
it?
from business account and never pay yourself.
Exactly. And
but also remember, if you are using a bank account, it's good because we can do your taxes using your bank statement. But the only thing is, SARS would say they want the actual receipts, especially for people like who are claiming. SARS, when it comes to them giving out money, then they really become an owl.
So the claiming process, how does it work though?
You need to submit. Okay. So what will happen is people think of the tax refund,
Yes.
the money that you get after submitting. They think of it as a windfall, like it's manna from heaven, and it's not.
It feels like it. I've claimed once, and it felt like it.
It's your money, and that's why I always advocate for people giving accountants 10% of their refund. It's your money, and let me give you an example with an employee, right? Let's say that I am earning 7,500, 7,800. And then they have been deducting 500 for tax for me. And then in the end, SARS runs an assessment. At the end of that submission, right,
Yes.
they will say, okay, we were supposed to deduct 450 and the employer deducted 500 to be safe.
Yeah.
So it means then you're going to get back those 50 rand times 12 months. So that's how a refund is made. Whatever that it comes to you as a refund, you must know that it was taken to you somehow by SARS. So it's not manna from heaven.
I feel like it's one of those situations where if I use a certain amount for leisure and I get it back, I'm still sending it back to leisure.
Well, it depends. But anyway, the claiming process, right? Every person, every taxpayer, person and legal entity, which are the businesses and the organizations, needs to submit their taxes.
Yeah.
For you to know that you have a refund, you must submit first. And then submissions are opening on the 1st of July. It's going to be very hectic. They call it the tax season. So it starts July, it closes in October, the 30th. Then what happens between that period is everyone is submitting according to whatever income that you had. Remember those incomes that are listed. So some of them, those who are employed, the employers would submit what they deducted and they will submit on their side. So a business, an individual, both needs to submit.
Yeah.
Then when that period closes, from the 1st of November now, SARS issues penalties for late submissions. That's where everybody got
That's
a
when we
nasty
get frightened.
SMS last year. And
That's when
people
we
were
think
like,
of you guys.
yeah, that's when everyone starts running and then they want to talk. And yeah, that is because then the tax season would have closed. Some people don't really come to us. Then they just ignore the messages until SARS put in more and more interest. So remember, when you owe SARS, it's like your store account, like when you owe Edgar's. So if you owe them 250 and then you ignore them, they add 10%, 10%. So think about it. If it's 2.5, then it's 10%, 10%. Then it reoccurs.
I looked at mine. It's way up there than I could have imagined or whatever. That's what demoralized me. I opened it, boom! It's a big number. I can't even say it.
Yeah, but you know what?
How does that work though?
So what people need to do, right? Don't ignore SARS notification, even when you don't understand. The minute there's that message or there's a letter you have received notification or notification has been issued to yourself or the business, ask someone to interpret that for you. Because what happens is, especially now that there are scams, you haven't received a letter that you have a refund.
I've
that you haven't paid your taxes, you have never submitted, but you get a letter and it says you have a refund. So SARS doesn't like sending letters. What they do, they send you a notification that you have a letter. Where is the letter? You need to log into your profile to find the correspondence. Under correspondence, you'll find the letter. So now, what you do, the wise thing to do, if you find 7,000, there's this rule: comply and complain after. If you even think that 7,000, you were not supposed to be charged that 7,000, what you do is you stop the interest, the money from growing.
Yeah.
And then you make payments arrangement to say, hi, SARS, I'm willing to pay this with 100 Rand a month, right? Then they will stop the interest from reoccurring and then growing the debt. Then you can now say, okay, here you charged me wrong, here you were not supposed to charge me. You can negotiate, but while you are on the safe place. The biggest thing is to make sure that you stop the interest from growing.
All right. So is that the 28%, what is it for, the rate?
It's for the business. So remember we spoke about how an individual is charged.
Yes.
The businesses are charged differently. So from a business point of view, you need what we call financial statement. So financial statement is like a 12 months
bank statement
preparation. They use your bank statement and then they will say, okay, this Len Express has received 200 million and they have spent sometimes 195.5 million.
More likely to spend 300 after we got 200.
Yes. So those are two scenarios, right? And then they will say, okay, their profit is 10,000, right? And then SARS will say, we want 28% of that 10,000. So meaning you're going to pay SARS 2.8. But if you made 200 million and you spent 300 million, then SARS will not refund you. They will keep that liability, they will keep that credit on your profile. And then whenever you owe them, they will deduct from it. So you don't necessarily get refund from the business tax point of view. Yeah.
Are those the new returns, or what do you call them?
Annual returns.
Yeah.
Yes, but remember, annual returns, there's the CIPC ones that people pay 150, and then there's the SARS one.
Yes.
So people get confused. They go on to CIPC and they pay 150. And then they say, no, I have paid returns. I don't know why SARS is sending me messages. There's different, those two are two different institutions, and you still need to submit with them both for the business every year.
So for the companies, for you guys, when you handle this process, like for personal and for business, what are your charges like?
Why are you putting me on the spotlight?
Well, they might want to know. So so what, people need to contact you and then you evaluate individually, or how does it?
Yes, I always say that I don't have a price list. What is that? Because remember, with taxes, I'm not selling bottles. I'm selling a service, so it's time and hours. How it works, and it's also how critical, what do I need to pull, the strings that I need to pull to get this thing sorted. So let me make an example. Sometimes someone came to me and they say, but I'm a salon, and then you've charged me 5,000, but you charged construction person 2.5. Do you know what happened? If I ask someone who has a construction company, give me your bank statement, they have like 5 transactions per month. How many transactions do you think a salon have? Like 1 month bank statement is like 20 pages. So that is work. That is too much time. So sometimes it's not that straightforward. It depends on what we need to do. I can say to you, give me your SARS login details. Let me assess, and then I'll give you the code appropriately, because then I would see, okay, you have 6 outstanding returns. What if I say to you, no, it's 250? Then when I go in, there's more problems and more trouble, and I need to follow up. I'll need to file disputes. So that is like more intense. So I don't have a price list. I assess and then quote according to the assessment.
It's fair enough. And tell me about pay as you earn.
So pay as you earn is for the businesses, but let's start with the individual side.
Yeah.
How I saw a lot of people struggling with pay as you earn is you're working for someone, they are deducting tax from your salary and they're giving you this little, but they literally not paying SARS that deduction.
Yeah.
You know who owes SARS in that case? It's you.
The company.
No, the person.
Is it?
Yes.
Why? Because I didn't follow through.
Yes. So you need to make sure that you have your pay slips, and you need to make sure that your pay slip has SARS, UIF, SDL, those deductions, right? And then if they don't, ask your employer. You can even inquire with an accountant with SARS. You can even ask from SARS if my employer is a legit employer. Because then when we try to submit for you, SARS will say, our record shows us that you were employed by these people and this was your salary. So please submit IRP5. You don't even have it. And people don't know. An employer must give you an IRP5 every year, end of February, because SARS will want it from you.
So as an employer,
you need to do that.
I need to register for that.
Yeah. So let's unpack for an employer. So the law says within 21 days of becoming an employer, meaning if you hire me today, on the 21st day, you must register for pay as you earn. So pay as you earn is employees' taxes, right?
Yeah.
So you register me as your employee, you register the company for pay as you earn, and then you pay my taxes as an employee, right? And then the employer is your job to make sure that you collect taxes from employees to pay them to SARS and submit on the 7th of every month. If you don't, you will get penalties as an employer for not doing that. If you do it late, in this transaction, you are an agent.
Yeah.
So you are a SARS agent, you collect money on behalf of SARS and you pay it to SARS. And you tell SARS this through the submission, this is how many people I've deducted from. And here's your money. If you do it late, SARS punishes you. You work for SARS as an employee.
So isn't there a way of bypassing that?
Unfortunately, this way there isn't. You have to. It's a legal obligation.
Because there should be a way of bypassing it, you know.
And do what?
Like, so even if your learnership and whatever programs, they also come with that as well.
Yes. Even for SITA, to pay your learners that stipend, they will say we want proof that you are registered with Pay As You Earn, you're registered with UIF and COIDA. So they actually make sure that you don't get the benefit before you qualify, you comply.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Pay As You Earn, that is how it works. And a lot of people, I don't know if you remember there was this celebrity. There's a series. The directors were almost arrested last year because they didn't register. So you can imagine if a series is it on Netflix or Showmax?
Which series is that?
I can't say it. I don't have money to go to court, but it was on the news. It was everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So the director used to play one of the big soaps on SABC One. So you can imagine how big is the crew. I mean, how many employees they had. And then they were owing millions for pay as you earn. And SARS gave them notice and final demands, and they were going to arrest them. But then, celebrities have money. So when I would advise you to pay. Celebrities have money. So they raised those millions and they paid.
Yeah,
and,
quicker.
They probably didn't pay the whole amount. You can always negotiate with SARS.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And how does UIF work?
It's a twin sister to pay as you earn.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. The minute you have someone as an employee, you need to register them for UIF, including your gardener and your domestic worker.
You lie.
I'm serious about it. You know what happens a lot of time?
Yeah.
You get a gardener, they work for you, you find them on the street as a boy. They grow. They even become an old man. And then you're like, no, but Matthias, you are too old now. And no, we'll find someone. And then this guy goes to UIF and say, no, I worked for Len Express as a gardener for 24 years. Do you know how much that is? And then they call you. They say, my brother, UIF. So you're going to pay every cent for 24 years. And no grace. There's no even grace there. On top of that, you'll pay a penalty that you never did the right thing when this person was. Also, so, how companies get caught out, right? So remember, small business, medium enterprises, they employ, so come and work for me, and then we don't go through contractual issues. And then we work, you pay me, whatever you pay me. Then we fight. Then I go to CCMA. Before they look at our case, they will say, give us evidence that your company is registered with UIF and you've been paying UIF for her. Before they touch the case, they want you to comply as an employer. So, very important. And it helps. Come on. I mean, let's say your photographer, right, is a female. You pay UIF for them. It's very little. 1% from the employer, 1% you deduct from her, right?
Yeah.
Then
and
if she
how much
gets
do
pregnant,
I deduct from my side?
1%. Everybody pays 2%,
Okay.
even you as a director. When she gets pregnant and she can't work anymore, you don't now have to pay her while she's at home, because obviously for that 3 to 4 months, she needs to make a living. You don't have to pay her while she's at home. You can pay a replacement, and then she can go to UIF to claim.
Okay.
Then they will pay her 60 to 80%. They don't pay full salary.
It does
Even
make a
if you
difference.
dismiss them, they can go claim for the period they are looking for another employment. So
does that cover for other illnesses and stuff, or it's just for pregnancy?
yes, maternity, adoptions now, even paternity, what as a father, you can claim UIF to say, I was at home for a few days. And then also if you are incapacitated, maybe you can't work anymore, you become ill and you're not able to go to work anymore. When you are adopting with your wife, the 4 months of adoption, you get UIF salary.
I see.
So yeah.
So it's UIF and then pay as you earn, and what else do
There's
people?
VAT.
All right, VAT is everywhere. 15%.
Yes, on everything. But also, I shouldn't forget there's COID. They used to call it COIDA, but it's actually COID, COID.
Yeah.
As a compensation for illness, injuries on duty. So, every employer is supposed to register with COID.
Okay.
So if Tavo fell now on the stage and get injured and he's totally disabled and stuff, you don't have money to see him through all of that medically and, income.
That's where COID comes in.
That's where COID come in. And people take it for granted. It's not too much. They just ask you how many employees do you have and how much are you paying them. Then from their little salaries, they will tell you, okay, pay us this much. It's very little. And then you're covered in case of injuries, illness at work.
And this is paid by me, the employer.
Yes.
Not themselves.
The employer. This one is an employer. Okay, what do you need to know, right? People always laugh at this, but let me tell you, you can't afford to pay this thing, but you don't afford to be arrested, because on SARS, on UIF, on COIDA, there is an imprisonment. If they can say, okay, this one, let's just arrest him.
Yeah.
That's all. Like, they can also seize your asset. They can just take the car, the cameras, everything, the mics, and sell them to pay people. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's very serious until you see it. I wish that SARS can publish more of, their cases, so that for the purpose of awareness, so people know actually. I know they published a Zara story, but like, it was not from SARS. I didn't see it from SARS. But like, those kind of things are lessons, because also the freelancers, the artists, and those ones, the authors, they are, I don't know.
But what do you think is the problem with SARS, though? It's a bit off. For the public not knowing about them, are they just some big bullies to say, we are the government, so whether you know or you don't, you know when, it's time.
You know what, Ne? There's the ignorance is bliss. Yeah. There's no I don't know with the law, because first of all, it's your responsibility.
Where do you get it from?
Let me tell you. When you register a company, right?
Yes.
You are registered for taxes automatically.
We register companies because we're just trying to get a face for our business.
You assume the responsibilities right there. And the people who you meet on the street to register a company, they don't read that document for you, and you don't read it. You take it, you're like, I'm registered, I'm trading as mama. That's a problem, because it's written there. Welcome. Congratulations on registering your business. Here are your legal obligations. You must
read the obligations.
So even the individual tax, whatever you receive as confirmation that you are now registered, the rules are there. Just like when you buy chappies, the message is inside. It's up to you whether you entertain yourself or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't know, it's your problem.
I see.
VAT.
You were telling me about VAT, yes.
So VAT, it's at least for the medium enterprises. So you need to have reached 1 million in terms of your revenues to be able to register for VAT. So
I can register for VAT. Angabambi million.
Oh my God, umsemncane. You're still a child. So work hard. It's okay. We'll get you there. So you need to have reached 1 million, and then you need to be compliant. So VAT registration, you can do it immediately, depending on the company being compliant. If you're not compliant, you can't register for VAT.
Yeah. Some
people, they leave their income tax for many years, and then when they come to us, they need VAT urgently. It's not possible, because you might find that they even
deactivated
it. Not deactivation. They sort of like a blacklist. So they put it on hold or something. So we can't even do it. That is a 21-day process that needs to happen in SARS. So
for that process to happen, it's because I'm not complying, or what?
Yeah, because you were not submitting, you're not complying. And remember, VAT is a monthly or a 2 months process of submitting and paying. So if you can't do the 1 year one, why SARS should trust you that you will manage the month to month one?
That's a lot of admin.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's why we are here. Remember. So, but also, I've always met people who are like, hey, Khubane, I got a contract, a tender. They want a VAT number, but I'm not registered and I don't have 1 million. So sometimes big companies, they want to deal with you, but they can only deal with VAT registered suppliers. So now you need to take the contract promise that you got from them and prove to SARS that I'm going to be a millionaire soon. Then SARS will allow you to register without having reached the million, but with a promise that shows that you will very soon.
I see. So that's when you start the invoicing.
Yeah,
VAT
now
inclusive.
your invoices must have VAT, and then your payments, whoever is invoicing you also, you must make sure that they include VAT.
So what happens to those that invoice and then charge VAT without a VAT number?
Fraud. That's fraud. That's fraud. And also, it's this both ways, right?
Yeah.
If you are VAT registered and you're not charging VAT, that's fraud. If you are not registered and you're charging VAT, that's fraud. You're not supposed to.
You both.
But let me tell you what
get
happens when you are VAT registered and then you are busy invoicing me or not charging me VAT. You're going to pay a lot of VAT because remember, you pay VAT from what you have paid, right? And what you have collected as well. So it's what you have received as VAT and what you have paid as VAT, they minus each other, and then you get to pay SARS or
difference.
they owe you. But then, if you're not doing it right, you will be the one paying SARS every month. So, yeah, that's it.
And this is where the gangsters would get accountants to swindle some of that money there.
I have a...
You have what? Yeah?
I have a lot of gangster friends. Don't do that to my friends.
I mustn't give you ideas.
They like accountants, and I don't know if we like them too, but yeah.
Yeah.
The nice thing about them, they like to pay. No? Unlike you guys. You guys don't pay.
So in other words, you're just saying they are better bookkeepers compared to Tines Sokolai.
Yeah, they will, and they are honest. You know, they will tell you, look, bona gishayela ngashayela, and I got this much. So now we have to go through things, and we're like, what is this? And you're still going around.
Yeah.
So they are honest. They don't want to be on the wrong sides. And
I take this, you also help out with registrations. What is that?
CIPC.
CIPC, yes.
CIPC is the secretarial work part. So this is where we do your company registration.
Yes.
Your deregistration. Akiri, some people, they like, but then and they register businesses.
Yeah.
And then you're now faced with submitting returns, paying CIPC, submitting for tax. And they're like, no, I don't have money for that. I'm like, why did you register the business? So we can deregister it for you. When you deregister a company, you just need to prove that you don't owe SARS and you've paid all your taxes and you paid CIPC, and then you submit. They deregister it. When they deregister, it takes long, like 4 months and more, because they put it on government gazette to say, here is Len Express. They are deregistering the company. If they owe you, come forward, whatever. And then if nothing happens, then they deregister it. So it's a long process. CIPC doesn't want to deregister companies, actually. But they would rather collect revenue from you guys. But also, if you don't submit the annual returns, they deregister you. After they deregister you, it's not over. Like, for example, I've met people, someone that you know, you have an account, you have a business, you have an account, it's fine. But you don't submit returns. They deregister the business. And then now this business is contracting somewhere and it has a bank account. So now you can't register a new business because what are you going to say to your contractors? So now we need to resurrect the business. So we do reinstatement. Reinstatement, we just go to CIPC, and then say we want it back, and then we pay. We also charge you a lot to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's possible. And then we become your hello, it's time to submit kind of alarm. Yeah.
So now I've seen with the BE certificates that, we would get it from you guys, and now we just get the BE certificate from CIPC.
Yeah.
Or are they different? Or amazing of this BI certificate?
No, the BE certificate, there's like 3 types of BE certificate, right? So it just depends on what are you applying for and what is the requirement.
Okay.
There are like CSD, they take CIPC BE certificate. There are some of the things where you're applying for funding for whatever they will want CIPC one. Some would say just submit a BE certificate. So myself as a commissioner of oath, I can take a BE affidavit and then I can write that land is owned by you. You look black and you are 100% shareholder. You are previously disadvantaged. Yeah, you look like you previously disadvantaged, those, and then I can certify it and then it's acceptable. Then there is the one that are from the accredited sense institution. Then there are tenders where they want that one. That one, what happens is there need to be an audit on your BE elements. So the audit happens, it takes some time, and then they issue that BE certificate after the audit. So that is the difference. And then a person just need to make sure what is the requirement of where they're submitting.
Yeah. So in terms of value, it's only where you are using it. It's not to I have a BE from...
Yeah.
And speaking of the CSD, do you guys also do the registration, compliance, and all that? Or?
Yeah. So ideally, we are like one spot. So when we meet you as a customer, we make sure that we registered your company, you pay taxes, you are registered on CSD, you're getting tenders, and then you're compliant, because CSD as well, you need to be compliant and you need to update your BE and your tax compliance. So yeah, it's just making sure that you are well positioned to get more jobs and to make more money and to pay us.
And sounds fine, you are there in the mix of everything, And the annual update, how does that work though?
So annually they will send you a notification. We set it up. It will say that, hi, Links, your tax clearance and BE on CSD has expired, or there's something with your bank account. We can't verify it with the bank because they are integrated with the bank, Home Affairs, and all that.
Yeah.
So and then the government goes on to the CSD. It's called a central database for suppliers. They go and just hoy all tenders, and then you can also set notifications, alerts to receive the relevant tenders for yourself.
I think this is pretty much about tax. I don't know if there's anything else that one would talk about in terms of like tax and as a business and everything.
Yeah, I think people don't realize that compliance is a barrier, and it is important for every business, no matter how small or big, because it serves as your cornerstone. So if you don't comply, it's like you are willing to be stagnant forever. Because if you comply and then you see there's a tender, you can qualify, you can apply. If you don't comply, if you don't do all of these things that I've said, whenever there is an opportunity, you will always say, I missed this opportunity,
just
I
be like,
missed this one, and I missed this one. Because it's like, because you look at the list, they want UIF, pay as you earn, CIPC, and you're just like, I don't have 4 of them. Okay, let me not apply. So when are you going to get opportunities, even for funding, even for financing at the banks, if you want a loan for the business? So compliance, taxes, everything that I've said, very important for a business to move forward. Besides that, what other records are important for an individual or business to maintain? So I am a Zero champion. It's a software, it's accounting software. It is catering for all sides of businesses, even if you're cutting hair, because it's affordable, one, and then it is high tech, You can use your smartphone. You don't have to sit on a monitor somehow and say, now I'm doing my books.
Yeah.
And then you can connect your accountant. So once you get your subscription, you connect me, you connect your bank. So your bank will give the software information about your business, and then the accountant is there to make sure that information is put on the right accounts on your software. So particularly, I prefer the use of a software because manuals, we will now charge you because Excel is daunting.
So, okay, let's say I move from Excel and then I use is it Quack or what is it?
QuickBooks.
It's QuickBooks, sorry.
Yeah.
And then I use QuickBooks. And is it better or you guys also use QuickBooks in your whatever? But
this is what Xero does, a similar function.
Yeah.
But I prefer Xero.
Better than QuickBooks.
High tech and satisfaction. And what I like about it is I don't need to sit down and teach you how to use it. It's like user friendly. And if someone can operate Facebook and WhatsApp, they can surely operate
a Xero. App.
Yeah, you invoice your people. You know, there are businesses that you would like, oh wow, I wanna support this business. You order, right?
Yeah.
You'll get code after 3 months because the person is trying to check, should I use Word, PowerPoint, what, because they are trying to do a quotation for 10 years. And then sometimes they send you a quotation, you still have Link's name and it's going to Khubane because it's a manual thing. But then on Xero, you capture your clients and then you just invoice code in like 2 minutes.
And how much does it cost?
It's as little as 200 and something for small businesses.
And for an individual who happens to
be a
invoice
business.
sometimes.
You can start at that. But it will tell you how many invoices.
Do you think $200, that's like 4 haircuts if somebody is cutting hair in these areas? If ukokasi, that's like...
No, it's one custom. I always say that
it's
one customer,
it's
you
one
can
customer
at
Legends Baba.
Legend Baba.
Only at Legends Baba. Anywhere else, like most barbers would cut at $50.
But would you rather not have slips and records? Because with Xero, right? Every slip after you buy, you just scan.
Yeah.
Like snapshot, and then it goes onto your system. That's how smart the software is. Like really, no records lost.
I suppose there is levels to everything. Tell me something. What is a break-even point?
A break-even. So when you start operating a business, you will put in some money.
Yeah.
Or you will ask investors to put in some money, and they will always ask you, when are you going to break even? And why it is important for you is we want to know when the business will be able to run on its own and when will it start profiting. So break even is when total income and total expenses are equal.
Yeah.
So you're even, meaning that what you make is equal to what you're spending. So now that is the beginning of the tunnel. There is a light, because what will happen next is you move from break even to more income and less expenses. Then you start having profit. So the break even is just the second phase before you make profit. Yeah.
And what's the best way to maintain my cash flow?
You need to first record your cash flow and be aware every month, because entrepreneurs like doing financial statements at the end of the year when they're submitting for tax, right?
Yes.
But you need to know every month. How are you going to know during the 12 months that you need to increase, you need to work harder, you need to do more advertising, because you don't know how much you're making. And that's why people are making losses, right? Because you are not keeping record. No one is advising you. So let's say you're my client, right? And you have me plus Xero, plus the bank statements. So the bank, Xero, and myself, we do our work. And at the end of the month, we show you, like here, you have made 100,000 this month, and you have paid 60,000, and you can say, oh no, I actually have served 60 customers. I was hoping for 600,000. Now you have an idea of what do you need to do to increase your income, or what do you need to do in terms of cutting your expenses. We can tell you that, but you have dropped 110% from what you have made. Can you cut down on 1, 2, 3? And like things like, it's not making sense that you're using transport of this much to serve 10 clients. Is there a problem? So you get to make better decisions financially for the business if you're following through your monthly
So
profit and loss.
that is the role of an accountant in a business, basically, or there is more benefits to it.
There's more benefit to it. People who has accountants, they don't want to know when is the tax season, when is it stopping. They get a message from SARS, they send it to the accountant. That's it.
Yeah.
So you have got, remember, in business, we want you as a business owner to focus on the core of the business.
Yeah.
We don't want you to sit every night and try to invoice and try to get who owes you, track who owes you, who you owe, when are you going to pay. No. That is our function. You focus on what you know better and make money.
And how do you find out if your business has industry tax, whatever, what do you call those? Industry-based taxes or whatever, regulations or whatever like that.
You need to, and this is why people think, Mara, I don't know why I'm paying accountant. There's no progress if you don't have an accountant, because you don't know what you don't know. And people are perishing because of lack of knowledge.
Learn or perish.
Right? So now, my people, listen, you need consultation.
Yes.
Because sometimes you don't even know. You don't know if you're supposed to pay tax on diesel or not. So those kind of things, you don't wake up knowing them just because you own a business. Consultation with your accountants will bring you more to the light side. Yeah.
That's just too much accountant knowledge for one guy. I'm starting to feel guilty. It's like you keep poking on my shortcomings.
When I have not seen your tax clearance PIN, you must give it to me after this. Let's see if you comply.
I am complying, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm up to date. I have an accountant, in case you didn't know.
Oh, great. I'm glad. That is what is important.
And tell me, so besides the whole financial world, you also run, is it a charity organization or what is it?
Yeah, I actually have 2. One is Khubane Learning Center.
Yeah.
Did you know that when I finished matric, I worked in the preschool?
Is it?
For a year. I was changing nappies, cooking, like I was a preschool teacher.
Yeah.
So my love for education started there. And even when I started the consulting practice, I started consulting with the preschool because that was the industry that I knew better. And my global award comes from there because I've helped more than 100 preschools to establishing, complying, applying, getting funding locally from government and also globally. So my organization is called Khubane Learning Center. I set it up in the village for a purpose that I wanted to bring an exemplary of a quality education center where you can do proper meals, proper nutrition, and proper education, and also for job creation. And I'm just giving back to my own community, and I love education.
Yeah. So like how big is the institution? And
it's huge. We have been funded internationally, and it's my practice field. I explore a lot with it.
No.
So we do preschool and then aftercare, and then some of the mentoring programs, they happen, and coaching, they happen online. So you won't see it at the center, but yeah, it's quite big, and it's going. It's
how long have you been running it?
It has been running without property, like premises,
Yeah.
since 2018. and then we started running at the premises in 2023 January. We also have school transport, so there's just a lot of activities happening right there.
That's
That's why I'm your sister, right?
of course. That's why you're my sister. and so within the community that you're situated in, was there a need besides it being your community? Did you figure out some problems within the community that you felt like they needed to be, and this is the only way you could accomplish it, solve the problems?
Yes, as an entrepreneur, remember, I'm not just an accountant, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. So I saw the gap. People like myself, the working classes, you want quality education, but you look at the city. My village is 55 km from the city, right? So I saw a hassle where children will have to wake up at 4 for them to go to the school at the city, and they go 55 kilometers in, out every day, and they get tired. Some of the children, because it's far, they are residing in the school, boarding, and that's not nice, because your child is raised in a different culture and in a way that you would do it differently when they are home. So I realized that there is a gap. We need a quality education preschool to cater for the working class, because then the villages are also like upgrading. So there are people who are working now for the local government, for the local malls and stuff like that. And they needed proper education within the proximity of the village. So yeah, that was the solution.
And how can people get hold of you?
People can get hold of me via the socials. I think number 1, I am at Khubane on Instagram, LinkedIn, not so much of a Twitter person, Facebook, and yeah, Google and everywhere. Khubane, Khuban.
Ladies and gentlemen, Khubane Consultant. This is the Professionals Network platform. We like what we do, and we do what we like. Follow, share, subscribe. We'll see you on the next episode.
BMS Studio.